So I have started this new channel, my art channel, and in fact, I've already posted a couple of videos. But I decided, I really need to do a much better job of defining the actual content for this channel. So I think really the best way to do that is really to sort of talk a little bit about the history of my YouTube channel. My previous channel really sort of has evolved over several years, and I started it, as an educator, mainly for my students, and then of course friends and family started following it too. But it was mainly the purpose was just for my students, and I was teaching not just art classes, but also I had been teaching a course in global business, and I was sort of the head of our campus global competency initiative. So there's what I started doing. First of all, the channel started mainly just as a way to enhance my classroom teaching in the various subjects, including art. So a lot of just sort of general art instruction, and but also from the global competency aspect, I was traveling around the world actually during summer breaks and semester breaks and spring breaks and all that. I would quite often take off, usually at least once, if not twice a year, and travel somewhere around the world and do these videos for my students to follow. And then, like I said, of course, my friends and family started following it as well. And then right after I retired from teaching, and I specifically say retired from teaching because, as an artist, artists never really retire. So I don't really consider myself retired in that respect. But anyway, right after I retired as a teacher, I decided to take off and hike the Camino de Santiago. And in fact, my channel started, sort of focusing on hiking anyway, because in 2014, I took off to hike the Inca Trail. Went to Peru, and while I was there, hiked the Inca Trail. And that was sort of the first hiking video that I did for my students to follow. And after that, I ended up going to Patagonia and documenting my hikes there, and Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. And so my channel started taking this sort of hiking adventure aspect to it, as well as still doing my art instructions and staying on the topic of art in various videos, because it was mainly for my students, and they were accustomed to me, flip-flopping back and forth between these different things. But as I mentioned, when I retired, I immediately decided to take off and hike the Camino de Santiago. And a lot of my students continued following my videos there. But something interesting started happening when I hiked the Camino de Santiago. A lot of the hiking community started following my videos, and then ultimately, last year I hiked the Appalachian Trail, and that's when all of a sudden my channel just really boomed with all these hiking people following my videos. And so that's made it difficult for me, if I wanted to go back to the topic of art, to I'm sure a lot of people would not necessarily be, the hiking community wouldn't necessarily be interested in that. So that's one reason why I decided to go ahead and just start this art channel. But like I said, the topic of art is pretty big, and I really decided that I needed to figure out exactly what my content is going to be. So I've decided that it's still going to vary quite a bit, and because I still have a surprising number of my students following my videos, and they're interested in more, a variety of things. Because in my classroom, we covered every aspect of art, including just general materials and techniques and that kinds of things and processes and that sort of thing, as well as art theory and all kinds of things like that. And but one of the things that I actually specifically avoided in my classroom was actually talking too much about my own art, because one of the main themes of my class was I wanted my students to really sort of find their own voice, and that was what I claim to be the primary objective of every project in my class, was for my students to find their own voice. And so I avoided talking about my own work. So now I'm going to continue, addressing my students, but I'm going to be talking a bit more about my own work and what's happening in my studio, and things that are influencing my work, and the directions, where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, those sorts of things. So I think that's going to be the best way I can sort of define what I think anticipate the content for this new channel to be. Okay, so here I am back in my studio, and now that we've kind of defined the parameters of what this new channel is going to be all about, it probably makes sense to back up a little bit and really talk about who I am as an artist, and how did I get to this point, and exactly where am I now, where have I come from in terms of my artwork. So let's go back. I talked a little bit about when I was in high school and being inspired by my writing teacher, John Strickland, and then going on to college and meeting a lot of my new colleagues, fellow artists, and getting inspired by their work, and then ultimately I became became an arts administrator, essentially, after founding the not-for-profit alternative exhibition space. Stayed there as director of that organization for 3 years, and then went on to some other arts organizations, and then ultimately working with lots of different artists from all around the world, actually. So, but early on, when I was in art school doing my undergraduate studies, oh my gosh, I was a student, and I was really trying to figure out where I was, and establishing sort of a launching pad for the direction of my artwork. And so I was really throwing things at the wall to see what would stick and what wouldn't, and really not doing anything too significant. And then eventually my work evolved into, what I thought was some sort of social commentary, and my impressions of society, the art world, and politics, and social expectations, those sorts of things. Mainly because I saw a lot of my fellow artists sort of addressing issues like that. So that was sort of the early part of my work. But even back then, really, my art was really kind of more an inward search, and trying to figure out who I was just as a person. And in fact, you've probably heard the phrase, every painting is a self-portrait. And I think really that is kind of true for me, even when I was doing these kind of social commentaries, things like that. But once I started working as an arts administrator and working with lots of different artists from all around the world, I had all kinds of eclectic influences on my own perspective in my own studio. I've always had a studio, but when I was working as an arts administrator and as an arts educator, my time is kind of divided, and really wasn't able to really focus on what I'm doing in my studio full time. And so, but through the years, I like I said, I tried to maintain my studio, and eventually my work sort of evolved into sort of this observation of the world, and trying to make sense of things. This this confusing environments that we live in, and what's going on in the world, and trying to make sense of life, the meaning of life, and where do I fit into this puzzle of that we call life. And then eventually that sort of evolved into I started doing a series of portraits, but really I started looking mainly at my friends and trying to find some people that I knew, but identifying qualities, characteristics, qualities in their character that I could sort of relate to myself and how I'm sort of like them, and usually finding little things that I could make fun of in some cases, mainly because I could see myself in that. Girls, settle down. Yeah, you don't need to be horsing around. Anyway, so and this is, I started this, maybe about 5 years ago. I started doing these portraits of people that I know, and but mainly thinking about, what qualities of their personalities and their character, do I sort of see in myself. And so I really even characterize those as self-portraits, even though visually they, look as much as I could like the people that I knew. So then, I now I have, retired from teaching. Yeah, now I'm able to really sort of focus on, not worry about what my students have been doing, and not worrying, I'd have to worry about the careers of other artists, and organizing, making sure that their careers are going in a certain direction and promoting them. I can really just sort of think about myself and in my own gallery. So what I'm doing now, the current body of work is really sort of based upon memories. Now, here's another thing. Through the years, I've created paintings, done them, and maybe sort of considered them done, or in a lot of cases just figured like, okay, I'm tired of this, and I'm going to step away from it for a while. So I do from time to time step back and go back and pick up something that I might have done, a few years ago, and come back and rework it a little bit. And I've done some of that since I've set up my studio here in San Miguel de Allende. I've gone back and just sort of reworked some older pieces. I think a lot of artists do that anyway. But I have definitely started a new series of work that are based upon my memories. And I've not really too sure how far this will go, but I've started with my earliest memories possible from when I was, maybe 3-4 years old, the earliest, and what I'm working on now are definitely childhood, pre-adolescence for sure, memories. And I've got in mind at least a dozen works that I intend to do based upon these memories, and if this series goes well, it might evolve into memories from my adolescent years and high school and things like that, and who knows, it may continue, can go on indefinitely. So that's sort of where I am right now in my studio. So I will be doing posting periodic videos that show the progress of my own work, but I'll also be doing some things. In fact, I might do some videos where I'm actually working. You can see me painting or doing whatever it is I'm doing, and for the sake of some of my previous students that are still following my channels, I think that's great. I love it when I hear get feedback from my previous students, and a lot of them still want sort of some tips and things about techniques and just sort of like the basics of how to utilize perspective and light and color theory and those sorts of things. So I'll address some of those things, as well as how I'm finding my own voice and the more conceptual aspects of my own work. So it'll be interesting to see how this channel goes. Yeah. So if you're interested right now, I think I've got maybe 3 subscribers. I'm probably all family and friends. Yeah, it'd be great to see this channel grow. And obviously with so few subscribers and a new channel, it's not monetized or anything like that. So it's just me inviting you into my studio to see what's happening. So that's what it's all about.
Stay tuned for my next video.